And today we've got we had a bit of a delay, but we still have our live stream. We are going at about 9:09 here on the East Coast. Well, wherever I am. I don't usually tell where I am, but yep, I'm here to answer all of your questions about history and social sciences. So if you like history, consider liking and subscribing and becoming a friendly neighborhood historian, dropping something in the chat, a topic you would like to discuss, a comment or a question. And yep, I'll be here for the rest for about 15 minutes or so. And it's dark, so I don't have my camera on. That's why. But yes, I'm here. It's good to see Faraz. It's good to see Solomon. Yeah, mega late, Harry. We are mega late tonight. I didn't even know that I could do a live stream. I kind of got the afternoon swept away from me due to a couple of unforeseen things that came up. But I got away just in time to actually do a bit of a live stream and answer some questions about history and social studies. So stuff that we do here usually every Friday and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern from the comfort of a friendly neighborhood history studio with our camera on, a nice historical little painting or picture in the background, all of that good stuff. But hey, it's better than nothing, so, and better late than never. So I'm here and you're here, and that's the good thing. Please like and subscribe and become a friendly neighborhood historian. It's as easy as that. So if you have any questions about history, I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, we've got about 15 minutes or so until I'm needed again. So, but yes, it's good to see everybody. Camera's off because it's dark and you won't be able to make me out, and I'm not in my studio, not my history Hefner robes or any of the other stuff that usual accoutrements, microphone, cameras, lighting that we usually have here. Stand, just holding my phone, walking down the street, talking to all of you good people about some history. So yes, you think if U.S. had invaded Iraq, would Iraq be better today? I don't know, but there definitely would be you're probably referring to Operation Iraqi Freedom and the U.S. invasion of Iraq with the War on Terror. Of course, we talk about all types of history here, including contemporary history and its effect on geopolitics today. But yes, Operation Iraqi Freedom and the invasion of Iraq probably did lead in many ways to destabilization not just in Iraq, but you have the Arab Spring after that and the Middle East as a whole. So I don't know what it would have looked like with Saddam Hussein's sons in power, assuming they had taken over after he had died. It probably would have been just as brutal and repressive, but the entire region wouldn't have been as destabilized as it is today. So what do you think of Woodrow Wilson's 14-point plan for World War I peace process? Well, I think it's World War II. I think the 7 Years' War, as everybody knows, is the First World War. Talked about this a lot on the channel, but Woodrow Wilson's 14-point peace plan was basically to create a new world order, promoting democracy and self-determination by different groups of people, basically creating new nation states out of the dissolution of empires like the Ottomans and the Austro-Hungarians and the Germans at the end of the Great War, where those three powers lost, and their empires were dissolved, basically allowing the peoples of those local areas the chance to make their own governments. Wilson's 14-point plan also proposed the first major supranational organization that would promote peace and freedom across the world, and that became the League of Nations. Wilson, ironically, despite the man who came up with the idea, could not get the United States Senate to ratify the treaty that would bring the U.S. into the League of Nations, so the United States wasn't in the League, and that probably ended up impacting its effectiveness, whereas the United Nations, created after the last World War 20 years later, was much more effective at stopping international conflicts. So, I mean, the 14 points worked in principle. There was a lot in them that turned out to be good to creating interconnectedness around the world and self-determination for peoples who hadn't had it, led to the creation of modern states like Yugoslavia and Poland, although Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, probably not nearly as successful as he wanted it to be, and not nearly as popular in the U.S. as he wanted it to be. The U.S. was ready for isolationism after 100,000 soldiers died in the war. So, and do you think it was a mistake for the U.K. to give up the Anglo-Japanese alliance to appease the Yankees in 1922? Probably. Japan wasn't too happy with the results of the war. They didn't get what they wanted to. They didn't get the influence in Asia, so they decided to take it by force with the Second Sino-Japanese War, which I think is the real start of the last World War, World War III. Why do you think Hinduism survived while so many other ancient faiths perished or greatly diminished? Hinduism is so integral to the society and culture of the Indian subcontinent that the truth of the matter is, without it, I don't think you would have Indian society or civilization. You can go watch my video on the Varna system, which Hars will put in the chat when he's not complaining. But basically, Hinduism is so integral to the survival of India that, yeah, you basically have, I don't see India surviving without Hinduism and without the Vedic period when the Aryans conquered the Indian subcontinent and made Hinduism a written down religion right around 1500 BC. So follow our social media handles there, like and subscribe if you enjoy history. Thank you for joining us. We don't have our usual equipment. I'm out and about. That's why I started 3 hours later than I normally do. But I am here, Friendly Neighborhood History, as always, to answer your questions about history and social sciences. So, yeah, that's nice, Harry. I really don't care. Yes, thank you for your support, regardless of what I am. But yes, please like and subscribe. The video is called India and the Varna System. Look it up and post it. You can watch long-form videos on this channel. We usually release one every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have the Q&As every Friday and Saturday, usually at 6 p.m. Eastern, although we had to start later today. And then Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern, you can vote here on YouTube for the topic tomorrow. We do a live stream lecture where I present a particular historical topic to you. So you guys can go and vote on that. And if you have a comment, question, or topic about history or social studies you want to discuss, you can bring it up here with me. Drop it in the chat and like and subscribe for more. Is distrust the animosity of later generation of is distrust and animosity of Jews justified throughout history? No, not distrust and animosity towards groups at different times for different bad actions by those groups can be justified based on a historical basis, theoretically. But distrust and animosity that the Jews have received is so disproportionate that no. Meanwhile, we had to stretch the Royal Navy and the British criminal force to do a job that Japan would have done if we kept the alliance, blah, 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 blah. Let me see here. Do you think later generations might remember Mamdani becoming the mayor of New York as an important event in history? Yes, probably. He's the first Muslim mayor of a major U.S. city. He's the first openly socialist mayor of a major U.S. city. I think he'll get there. Yes, that case system video. That's the Varna system. I wonder what Julian the Apostate would have thought if he could see what would become of Christianity. Might be interesting, but he never got as far as he wanted in bringing the Roman Empire back to paganism. I mean, Christianity was so ingrained and so much in the general direction was going for Christianity at that time that he basically was a man out of his depth in trying to bring paganism back to the Roman Empire. So yeah, go and watch that case system video and you can hear more about my thoughts on India and the creation of Hinduism, the world's oldest religion. Chances of war with China and Taiwan. As long as the U.S. is militarily supportive of Taiwan, the chances are very low. Do you think you might have biases in anything? Of course, I have biases in a bunch of things. Whenever I give my opinion on a topic, I'm showing a bias. But I tend to try to not let my bias impact my delivery of facts. I try to be as objective in my approach as possible and consider all sides. If I'm giving an opinion, obviously I'm giving a bias. But I'm also, when I'm telling facts and spitting truths about history, then hopefully that's objective as possible. Friendly History, are you more libertarian leaning or authoritarian leaning? I'm not going to talk about that. You want me to share a perspective or an analysis? Okay, we're back. All right, you can't see me right now, but that's just how it is. 3% is 10% is very low. I'm looking back at the chat. Looks like we are back good. Okay. Someone was asking, what do I think is low, 10, 20, or 3%? They're all low. I think it's probably 3% or lower. Is Confucianism a code of conduct or a spiritual faith? It's a philosophy based on ethics and education, created hundreds of years before most of the modern religions that we know were created. So let me see here. Do you think it was a mistake to spread up British colonialism in the 1890s when the UK was expanding steadily and had pretty good control when it did its slow but steady expansion? Yeah, sure. Let me see. Okay, but there's one thing. Truth is usually somewhere between, but does not mean exactly in the middle. True. Just being a moderate, just being in the middle doesn't mean you're absolutely right about everything. So, and I am familiar with Sufism, and Rumi, I think, was an Islamic scholar who was one of the architects of Sufism. Woodrow Wilson is not my significant other, but thank you for asking a dumb question. How was the 19th Amendment passed if only men were allowed to vote? A lot of states had already given women the right to vote. Wyoming had women voting, but men... let's see here. How is the... I think I've answered all the questions. Okay. All right. Well, I'm at my time, basically, more or less. I'm going to wrap it up. Please, sorry for a short one. Sorry I wasn't on camera. But hopefully you enjoyed the history I talked about. Hopefully you go check out that video on the Varna case system. And I think you guys can... hopefully you like and subscribe. You can call me friend called that. Hope you guys have and all the have a great evening, and we will on your way out. And as